if you can create that environment where they want to go to work, then there are benefits across the board for your organization. So how do we do that? That's the $1 million question. How do we do that? And point number one, create a compelling vision. Create a compelling vision that people want to be a part of. Let me define vision here. And I apologize. This is a long answer to vision, and I had a slide, but you just have to follow along here. So a vision statement, this is what I share with my clients when we're doing strategic planning. A vision statement is a document that states the current and future objectives of an organization. The vision statement is intended as a guide to help the organization make decisions that align with its philosophy and declared set of goals. It can be thought of as a roadmap to where the company wants to be within a specific time frame. So it's measurable and specific in that vision statement, whereas a mission statement or a purpose statement is going to be kind of never ending. It's going to be more global, why we exist as an organization. But that vision statement is time sensitive. So just 4 things to recap that a vision statement should have. It should state current and future objectives. It should help guide decisions. So it should help you make decisions. Are we on track? Are we in alignment with our vision? It's a roadmap of where you're going, and it's time specific. So I'll tell you mine, be a little vulnerable here. I've got it on the wall though, so it's right in front of me all the time. So my vision is we will be the #1 company associated with executive leadership by the year 2030. So the #1 company associated with executive leadership by the year 2020. So what does that tell me? That helps me make decisions so I'm not out creating training videos on how to train your dog. I don't know. That's the first thing that came to mind. But whatever it is, that would be outside of that lane, right? That wouldn't be accomplishing that goal. But if I have something that talks about, personal growth and development of an executive leader, or I have information or training around, like I did with the client yesterday, how to create really the avatar in your organization for the ideal leader in your organization, that's beneficial material and content that's going to help me reach that goal that I'm looking to reach. So every organization is going to have a different vision, but those same commonalities, those 4 things are going to exist in a vision statement for any organization. You want to be proud of that vision statement. You want it to be something that you're passionate about, something that that people can feel that passion around you. And then the more you talk about it, I think I talked about this in a training a few weeks ago, how to get vision buy-in, but you need to take those steps to clarify that vision, present that vision to key stakeholders in your organization, and get buy-in from them at all levels of the organization, so that you guys can run together towards the goals that you're planning. So I led a strategic planning day with a client of mine not that long ago, last year, and this person has an HVAC company, and he had his 8 leaders around the table there, and this particular leader, we talked afterwards, and he said, I never wanted to share my vision with the team. I always just wanted to hey, let's just grow. Let's keep getting better every day. He said, I never wanted to share my vision with the team because I thought, what if we don't hit it? What if we don't make it? What if we fall short? And then I have egg on my face. I look stupid. And, business owners shouldn't have to feel that way. They shouldn't have to feel like they can't share the vision that's in their heart. And what is so interesting is every time that I've done strategic planning sessions with the entire leadership team in the room, the leadership team pushes the envelope beyond what the senior leader, the president, the owner of the company, what they had in mind. They always say, I think we can do more. And this was the same case with this organization. Is his entire team, he had a number in mind in his head, but they said, no, I think we can push beyond that. I think we can grow bigger than that, faster than that. And they had buy-in because it was their idea, right? So get those key stakeholders involved when getting the vision going. All right, so #1, create a compelling vision. #2, reward risk takers. We're talking about how to create an environment where employees want to work. If you get your hands slapped every time you try to do something, eventually you're going to stop trying to do stuff, right? And you're going to show up, and it's the old, I'm just punching my time clock, right? I'm just doing my time. I'm just coming in. They don't want to hear my ideas. They don't want me to try new things. They just want me to show up, stand in my place, and work the factory line, whatever the case is. And that is not an environment where people want to work. People want to have opportunity to think creatively, to innovate. But the key is innovative environments, they don't punish failure. They see failure as feedback. Failure is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to develop, to get better. So organizations that create environments where people love to work are organizations that reward risk-taking. And so that means that you don't have to get it right every time, but we want you to keep swinging the bat. We want you to keep trying and keep trying to solve the problem. I said earlier, failure is feedback. A couple questions. Now, let me clarify. You don't want to, if someone continues to make the same mistakes over and over again, and they don't make any changes in their approach, that's not what we're talking about. Because that's really, that's not learning, that's not growing, that's not developing, that's just continuing to fail, right? Continue to make the same mistakes. But if you fall short, you don't reach the goal, then what you want to do with an individual on your team, if they're kind of not learning lessons from it, you need to prime the pump and help them by asking a few questions like, hey, what did you learn, right? What did you learn from this experience? What did you learn from trying it that way? Okay, what would you do differently next time? If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently? Or what are you thinking we can do next to try something new? And then number three, how can I better assist you in this process? Or do you have any questions of me that I can answer, that I can give some insights on, or anything you're trying to think through as we reflect on what just happened? And then you move forward, right? You get up and you move forward. So it's those risk-taking environments that employees love to be a part of. Number three, you got to show selfless leadership. You got to show selfless leadership. If you want to create an environment where employees want to work, show selfless leadership. And, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to organizations, not everyone's going to get along. Not every leader is going to get along with every team member, and not every team member is going to get along with each other. But you know what people do love? They love leaders that put others before themselves. Mm-hmm. And you can call this servant leadership. You can call this selflessness, whatever you want to call it. When I was helping the organization yesterday, this is actually, I don't think I said this earlier, but when I'm helping an organization clarify what it is their ideal leader looks like, there's really three keys that we focus in on first that takes the bulk of our time. I'm not worried about the process of how exactly we roll this out or anything like that. First, we've got to identify what are the character qualities that we want in our ideal leaders in this organization. What are the competencies? What are those core competencies beyond the practical skills of sending an email or whatever the case is? But what are some of the communication skills? What are the ability to be resilient in tough times if you're working in a fast-paced environment? Whatever the case is, right? You got to have those core competencies. And then the third thing is chemistry. What are the cultural chemistry items that, hey, you might have the character qualities. You're a good person. You got great character. You've got the competencies. You've got the skills. But man, you just don't fit with us, right? The chemistry-wise, culture-wise, you don't fit with us. And this organization yesterday said selflessness. If our leaders are not selfless, it's not a chemistry fit. They will not thrive in this organization, and eventually they'll be flushed out. We've done this long enough to know that selfless leaders thrive in our organization. And I'll tell you what, they thrive in every organization, right? So if you're a selfless leader and you put others before yourself and you put your team ahead of yourself, and really, what does that mean? It means to do things that even to your own hurt, if it benefits the team, right? Sometimes sacrificing your own gain or letting a person go home or take care of something that they need to take care of, and closing down the shop for them that day so that they can go and do that. A non-selfless leader, the owner of this organization made a great point. They said, if we have a non-selfless leader doing the schedule, they're never gonna have themselves close, right? They're gonna put everybody else to close, which is just gonna cause conflict in our organization. So it's those kind of things that those selfless leaders. Okay, this is a funny story. Just happened last night. My daughter has a job now. She's 17, and getting accustomed to her having a little job down the street. And she came home last night. I said, "How was your shift?" She said, "It started a little rough, but..." She's working at Dunkin' Donuts. So she said it started a little rough, but it was fine. And she said, "But gosh, we have these shift leaders, and they just argue the whole time. And one of them's 23 and the other one is 30 years old, ancient, and they just argue all the time, the whole shift. And then they tell us to do stuff, and they don't do it themselves. They just stand around while we do it. And it's not like they're like managers or anything. They're just shift leaders." And it was so funny hearing it from her perspective. We knew I was concerned. My wife had to really bring me, to this. I'm like, she can still work for me and do some stuff on the side. And but my wife was like, no, it'll be a great experience for her to go out there and to see what it's like to work with real people. Instead of how easy it is to work for her dad and kind of on her own time schedule. So that selfless leadership, even a 17-year-old, an emerging adult can see that, hey, I want to be around someone that is selfless in their leadership. All right, let's keep going. Number 4, I got 6 of them here on how to create an environment where employees want to work. Number 4, a growth environment, right? An environment where you don't not only encourage growth, but you give opportunities for growth. I always celebrate, and I make a point of it with the team whenever I'm coming into an organization and I'm training them. I say, hey, let's just can we celebrate your leadership for investing in you in growth? And now, that's good for business too when I do that in an organization, but it's also good for the team to recognize, yeah, this isn't something they have to do. This is something that they're investing in me. Kind of like Richard Branson was saying in that first quote, invest in people so that they could leave, but then pay them well enough so they don't want to. And I even heard it recently. It's just the name of the game. I invest in my team, and then they leave. They go. That's just part of the process. But the old saying, well, what's the alternative, right? You don't invest in them, and then they stay. and you have people that aren't progressing, they aren't growing, they aren't developing, and that's not what we want. We want an environment where people are growing, we're promoting growth, and then we're giving opportunities for growth and really showing people how to grow. I think a huge opportunity that organizations are missing is mentorship. I read some statistics a couple of weeks ago. It's something that 80 to 90% of people say mentorship is important, it's valuable, it's good stuff. Only 34% of people actually do it. I did my own poll in an organization I've been doing training with for a couple of years, and it's the entire staff. It's about 15 to 18 people, from CEO to the very newest employee. And I said, hey, just by show of hands, who's ever been mentored before? Only the C-suite folks raised their hands. Nobody else in the organization. So you're talking 3 out of 18 staff members, 3 or 4 out of 18 staff members raised their hand and said, yeah, I've been mentored before. I've had a mentorship engagement with someone, and the rest had not. And that's such an opportunity for an organization that it really doesn't cost you anything just to say, hey, let's pair people up in our organization among the staff that have certain skill sets, and then have a list of people that have skill sets and a list of people that are interested in certain skill sets, and then match them up and have them take each other to lunch and just have conversations around how they can grow and get better. Modeling after someone is one of the best ways to grow and develop and go to the next level in whatever it is you're trying to do. So growth is a huge opportunity for creating an environment where people want to work. Number 5, fairness. And I'm sure we all have a story to tell with fairness, where we weren't the favored person in the organization. Now, I've been the favored person in the organization, and let me tell you, it's great, right? It's a lot of fun. I say that at times you do kind of get some awkward things with your coworkers, right? With your peers. when they recognize that, hey, you're favored in the organization. But it's definitely not fun, and it's a morale killer when there are rules. We hear it in the news all the time, right? Rules for thee and not for me, right? When there are certain rules for certain people, but certain people who are related to, or have a strong relationship with certain people on the staff, those rules don't apply. They go out the window, and they don't have to follow those same rules. And I had this in an organization where many times it's not, I don't think it's, I really believe that people make the best decisions they know how, based on the information they have, and many times it's not that people are trying to create these favoritism environments. It's just that, hey, a leader connects with a certain person on their team really well, and it's a good fit. So it is what it is, right? And recognizing that those things happen. It's not anything people are doing intentionally. But I did have a person in an organization I was doing coaching with where it was kind of worst case scenario. Not only did they favor someone, they favored a person that was the lowest performer on their team. And it was one of those things where they really just had compassion for the person. They almost felt sorry for them. And then they brought them like into their home, be a part of their family, and kind of connect with them when they were one of the lowest performers, if not the lowest performer, in a leadership role in their organization. And it just caused so much frustration on the team members that were really running the entire organization. I mean, they're getting the revenue in for the organization. They are making the team happy. They have influence in the organization. And there's this thing that is frustrating them. They love their job, but this person comes in, performs poorly, and then gets to go sit with the boss and have lunch with them, go out to lunch with them. And it's this rub. And then also, the person doesn't have the same consequences when they don't perform. So fortunately, before things explode in this organization, the owner of the company made the appropriate changes and cut this person loose. And that was really the best thing that this person could do for their organization to move forward. Morale boosts immediately. So fairness. And then finally, number 6, autonomy and empowerment, really empowering your team, which is, let me give you an example. I know many times executives are nervous about leaving, right? They're nervous about going out of town, and they're kind of that helicopter parent, helicopter boss that is, how are things going? What's going on? I can't leave. And your team feels that lack of trust. They feel that you're not really letting go of the reins. And having done training with and had many conversations with middle managers and been there myself, right? Where you're in that place and you're like, hey, business owner, hey, boss, leave, right? Leave town. Trust us. We are so looking forward to show that we are invested in this organization, that we can handle you being out of town. And so, so just please go and let us prove to you that we can do this. And so it's scary. I get it. I get the, this is your baby. This is your business. This is, you're ultimately going to be judged. If you're the CEO of the organization, the stakeholders are going to come to you. But at the same time, there has to be a moment where you cross that threshold and, your team has to prove to you that they can do this, but you let them prove to you that they can do it. And then you empower them to do it. Hey, run with it. And it starts with baby steps. It's just like lifting weights, right? You don't go in there and say, hey, I'm just going to throw a bunch of 45s on either side. I've seen these football players do it on TV. I'm just going to get under there and I'm going to push up the weight. No, that'd be irresponsible. And that would be foolish. But you do go in there and you kind of test the weight, right? Put a little bit of weight. Hey, that worked. Let's put a little bit more next week. Okay, a little bit more. The same thing with delegating to your team. Give them a chance to prove you right, that they're trustworthy, and then give them a little more responsibility, a little more, and let them grow into those opportunities of empowerment. Many times it's kind of an all or nothing. I've seen leaders, and I'll just speak for myself. This has been my kind of natural inclination. I've had to learn and grow and develop out of this. But it's kind of an all or nothing. It's like, I'll do it myself. And then it's instead of really empowering and delegating, it's almost like abdicating. It's just like throwing it in the other person's lap and saying, go do it, go take care of it. And not giving them everything they need to take care of it, or not allowing them to really grow in to that responsibility. So there is a process of developing people and helping them, but don't shy away from it. If you want to create that environment where employees want to work, trust me, and this might sound counterintuitive, that they want to be empowered, they want more responsibility, but people ultimately, they want that. They want that in their workplace so that they can grow and thrive and continue to develop and just feel challenged when they come into work.